Durban International Convention Centre and former IEC boss Glenn Mashinini, who is the chair of the ICC board, are compromised. That's according to ActionSA, which says Mashinini and the ICC almost allowed the ANC Women's League elective conference to be funded by taxpayers. The party claims the deal was only stopped after a whistleblower told it about the allegations. To discuss this further, we are now joined by ActionSA's Zwakele Mncwango. Mr. Mncwango, thank you very much for your time here on eNCA. Now, as a board chairperson, what will happen if, for instance, Mr. Mashinini comes back to say, well, procurement doesn't come to me as a board chairperson?
Yeah, greetings to you and greetings to the viewers of NCA. Yeah, look, first of all, let me just maybe give a background so that viewers can understand what transpired with this transaction. There was an ANC conference that took place from the 4th to the 6th of August. And there was a question from the ANC that queried to use the ICC. But in response, in terms of the MOU, the ANC referred the ICC to a municipality where the event was changed from being an ANC Women's League conference. It was then changed to a Women's Month launch to be done by the municipality. So now, at that time, ICC was aware that the event was supposed to be an ANC Women's League event, which is a conference, but they agreed to sign the agreement with the city of the Women's Month launch. It doesn't exist at all. But then the event took place, and the municipality committed to pay 5 million towards this event called Women's Month launch. But then I can tell you that the agreement was signed by the CEO of ICC and the deputy manager, Zwakele, on the 4th of August. Then on the 10th of August, there was an amendment to the original agreement where they inserted 4 venues. One venue was for caucus room, other venue was a plenary floor. If you remember, it was on pictures on social media where Women's League members were sleeping on the floor. ICC charged 60,000 rand per day. There was also an IEC room, meaning IEC was there presiding over an election. So meaning IEC knew very well what was going on. There was no Women's Month launch. But also, 21st of August, we did the whistleblowing, as ActionSA, we made it to public on the 9th of August. So meaning everyone knew before the 10th of August that this was not a municipal event, it was an ANC Women's League event. Now, the board is responsible to play oversight over the management of the ICC. Then at that time, Mr. Mashinini would have known something had happened at the ICC if he didn't know at all. 21st of August, final invoice was done, which was costing about 4.7 million rand assigned to the city. So meaning this invoice was sent to the city despite ActionSA have raised issues publicly over this event that never took place. Now, the question is, now we wrote to CCIU, this is our city integrity unit that does investigation. Now, Mashinini is not answering questions over this issue. He's now saying, no, CIU is investigating. The issue is this: we can't have a commissioner of IEC on the other side shielding a political party, because at the moment, as a board chairperson of IEC, what he has done to ensure that there is integrity and there's transparency and accountability over this issue was the public knowledge that there was an ANC Women's League conference on that day. There was never an event by the municipality. Now, those are big questions. IEC was presiding on the same event. So the question is, we want to trust commissioners of IEC, but when they embroiled in such sagas where they sin to protect one party, then it gives question to the credibility of our election.
Yeah, and you know, we saw that a municipal official from the city has responded to say we haven't paid this particular invoice. But obviously, your concern is, first of all, was there an agreement to pay it?
Yes, there was an agreement. That is why the city will never respond to say whether there was an agreement or not. I can tell you there was an agreement signed by the city. The invoice exists, sent to the city by ICC. So meaning the agreement says they must pay within 30 days. It expired. So the municipalities have a debt of 4.7 million rand towards the ICC. That is not paid because we stopped it. I wrote city manager myself. I asked him on council, city manager, can you confirm in council that you are not going to pay for this invoice. That's when he committed in council. He had no choice to say, no, we won't pay for the invoice. But they're not answering the question whether this agreement was signed because there was an intention to loot public funds. That is why we're saying there's a criminal element in this transaction. That is why on Tuesday, we are going to ICC, we are going to be getting outside. Part of our demand, we are asking the CEO and Mashinini to open a criminal case because a crime had been committed. Until to date, the ANC must answer and say they had an event at ICC. Where is the payment they made? Where was the agreement between the ICC and the ANC? Because there's no agreement between the protected party and ICC, meaning the CEO was aware, ANC was aware, Mashinini's report seemed to be aware, and municipality leadership seemed to be aware. So all of them must be held accountable for this corruption because it's a crime being committed. The municipality, yes, they've not paid this money, but
and of course,
intention to steal money.
Of course, your concern is quite understandable because the ANC Women's League is not a municipal agency. It's a leg of the ANC. So it's clearly government and political party blurring lines, etc. But does it also raise concern about one person sitting on a board for one particular agency while also being a commissioner for the other? Does it raise concern about people holding many big positions in many organizations, perhaps?
It does actually now, because now it creates that conflict of interest. Because ordinarily you wouldn't see a problem, but this shows again the line of ethical leadership. Because now the big question is, he should have known that having this event ICC, what steps he can take to stop it, because to compromise him as a chairperson of the board. Because at the moment he's been silent on this issue. The big question is, what is he doing? So it then raises a question about whether was it a good idea for him to hold this critical position as a commissioner of IEC. Because remember also, this person was a senior person, was a former chairperson of IEC, former chairperson, who is now a commissioner of IEC, but now we expect him to be neutral. We expect him not to be biased with any political party, or not be seen or perceived to take any sides. But in this case, he's protecting the ANC against this issue, which raises a concern to say, can we trust his independence as an IEC commissioner? There's definitely a question of interest here.
All right, Mr. Mncwango, thank you very much for speaking to us. It's going to be quite interesting what comes out of these investigations that they're saying they are holding with this particular issue. And of course, the team did let me know in the morning behind the scenes that they did try and get a hold of Mr. Glenn Mashinini for us to give him a right of reply. And by the time we went on air, he had not yet responded.